Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the second video from Barron Speedway. In this video I'm going to talk about how I built the table from the ground up. So the design requirement I talked about in the first video said that the table had to be able to be stored, folded away. So this is how I did it. A couple of you guys also asked questions about that too, so hope this will offer you some clarification. So these tables are 4 individual pieces with 4 legs each, and they're hinged onto the wood with just 2x4s as the legs, and there's a toggle clamp there that connects them all together. So the toggle clamp's nice because once I clamp it, it acts as a one-piece unit when they're all clamped together. And these hinges, although they look kind of flimsy, they're actually a neat tool to use for leveling. So you're not going to get the perfect level with the table due to contours in the floor or warping in the wood a little bit. So you're able to play with the hinge a little bit, move it around in order to get the tables to be level, and then you can clamp them together. So I have those on each of them, and the reason I have this is so then I can have the whole table taken down, folded up probably in about 45 minutes to an hour. That includes what's on top. It makes it nice because I can fold them all within probably a foot to 2 feet deep on the wall and standing them up. So it really doesn't take a lot of space whenever these aren't being in use. So on top of the wood, we have the foam board here. So the main base is a 1-inch thick base. I put this down to be the same dimensions as the table, or each individual table. So that way whenever I take them apart, I just have to detach the foam pieces together. So nothing's really holding the foam together. You can see a crack there, that goes the whole way through, and I have actually painted painter's tape that I put to cover up the cracks on most of them. It works out pretty well. Whenever you don't put a wet rag on to clean them off, because the moisture goes into the tape and kind of folds it up, but you can't really tell whenever you're looking from a glance. So that holds the foam together. Now, in order to get the turns and the banking like I did, I drew out the track on the 1-inch foam piece on the bottom, I guess the base, and I wanted to see what my track dimensions would be, like what the maximum track size I could get. And I wanted to see how big I could get the pit road to be, and how wide I would need the track to be. So there's the pit road was going to be one single level, and then I was going to do a radius for the turns. So how I did that is the actual turn starts on this piece, pretty much right at this line. So I had to go to about the center point here with a 2x4 connecting over the middle, and I screwed it in, and I made a compass of sorts using a longer piece of wood that I stuck a pencil into. And I drew out the radius of the track for the inside pit wall, the outside pit wall or the inside wall of the track, and for the outside wall of the track. And I did that for those turns, and I did that for this turn here, and then I just connected the two for the straight lines. So I kind of measured it out, and you can see here like where I was first trying it out and it just wasn't really working. I accidentally carved into it, but it kind of its character, I suppose, so I just left it. And yeah, I was able to kind of figure out from there what the track width needed to be. So how did I get this banking to work out right? Well, I knew what the track width was, and I knew from testing out the maximum angle that I get these cars to sit without sliding, that was about 18 to 20 degrees. So how I did that is that there's an app that's like a level app, and I just set my phone on a flat board with a car kind of next to it, and I lifted the board up until the car started to slide, and at that point I knew that was the max. So it's free on wherever you get your apps from, and it worked out pretty well. So I knew at that point then, okay, 18 to 20 degrees. There's this foam piece here that's a 2-inch thick foam board. So I knew I had whatever the track width was, plus 2 inches, and then 18 to 20 degrees, so that was going to be my track width. So I took the foam cutter that I mentioned in the previous video, and I will also make a second video later detailing how I cut the foam. So that won't be in this one, but I'll talk about at least the turns. So I cut the foam in one piece, going the whole way around, and then I gradually shaved it off. But you go from a 2-inch thick board here to 1-inch thick board here on the straightaway. So I had to make a transition piece, and this was where this was the most tedious part. And I'll show you the best one because I don't want to show you the worst ones. So this is it here. So I, over about a 1 foot span with turning, I created the 2-inch thick down to the 1-inch thick, and the walls didn't quite cooperate the whole way, but it worked out pretty well. So I was able to get that, and then I connected those all together, and then I took the hot wire foam cutter and I smoothed them all out, cutting the foam away. And then I just used a little bit of sandpaper just to smooth out some of the blemishes that I got from the foam, and that's really how I got the surface. So then what I did was I painted the whole thing. I just got a quart of paint from Lowe's and picked a color that was not a full jet black, but something that would look like new pavement. And I painted that down. And then I knew where I wanted to put my walls. So the walls are actually balsa wood. So it's 1/8 inch thick by about 1/2 inch tall balsa wood in 36-inch strips. And then on that, whenever I was making the walls, there are two things. One, I have these decals here that are just taken from Publisher and printed. And two, I have lettering that I've shown in a couple posts before, but my wife did that. So whenever I was putting these on, I measured out like where I wanted the turns to go, and then my wife lettered the turns 1 through turns 4, the Barron Speedway, and then the We Are Penn State there, and between turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. So I started from one point on the wall, went the whole way around, had our letter where it goes, and then I put in all the decals that I made for the track. So then the inside pit wall is 1/8 inch thick by 1/4 inch tall, and I made every single one of these pit road banners. So how I made these were I looked up a bunch of images from each team for their pit stalls, and I just pieced together and made them all in a table format on Publisher. So I got the color background to match, and I filled the cell with that color, and then I found decals online and I just started making them into the different sizes. So I have all 40 pit stalls on the track, and everything was printed out on sticker paper. Same goes for all the decals on the track, and I just put them on there. So I think they turned out pretty well, and I'm overall pretty happy with them. So that's just a short video that I wanted to talk about of how to build it. A lot of you guys have asked questions, what the base is, what do you mean by folding up. So I hope this helps you out, and as always, feel free to ask me more questions if you have any of them, either in the comments here or over on Instagram. And again, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video when I talk about the foam cutting. Thanks.